Welcome back to another video, here at our Top 10 Studio. Today, we will be reviewing some of the worst impacts that the coronavirus has had on the world. The pandemic has had a considerable impact on the film industry. Cinemas and movies theaters have been closed globally, due to the COVID-19 virus laws. Many movie production and movie releases has been permanently postponed or delayed to a future date, which is the reason for the lack of new movies and animes in the year 2020. Due to the closure of cinemas and movie theaters, the global box office has dropped by billions of dollars in 2020 alone. The Chinese film industry, having closed all its cinemas, had lost $2 billion by March 2020, while North America saw its lowest box office weekend since 1998. Between March 13 and March 15, Cineworld, the second-largest cinema chain, closed all its cinemas in October 2020. As it regards anime, millions of fans were on edge, due to the fact of the lack of new animes being distributed, and even the cancelling of some sequels. But there have been a few sequels released, and even new animes released in the start of 2021, which has placed anime fans at ease. As it is, one of the best means of hindering the transfer of the virus, social or physical distancing also has many disadvantages. The most problematic situation, that is accompanied by social distancing, is the fact that persons can no longer be close with friends and family, whom they don't usually see on a regular basis, or don't see at work, home, school or other public places. There are many persons globally, who are heavily dependent on physical interaction, so the realization of social distancing becoming the law, is like living a nightmare. The World Travel and Tourism Council insinuates that the travel industry would have shrunk up to 25% in 2020. But that expectation was exceeded and almost every means of travel has been affected by the virus. The most noticeable way is travel by air. Many countries have placed a travel ban on their airports, blocking every entry of airplanes that tries to enter their nation. One country most of all, that has been banned by most countries globally, is the UK. The United Kingdom, which is currently under national lockdown, was the first country to face the new strain of the pandemic, and although they do not possess the most cases or deaths globally, they are considered to be a nation that has one of highest rate of corona cases. Due to the lockdown of some countries and their airports, many persons that traveled by plane for work, visitation or vacational purposes, have been forced to place a change in schedule, until travel restrictions are removed. The pandemic has resulted in many lockdowns across the world. This lockdown has spawned a heinous trend-like act in various households. This act, known as domestic violence, has greatly spiked due to the heavy lockdown in many countries such as Argentina, Canada, Germany, the United Kingdom, and the United States. This spike has led to many groups including governments and civil rights activists to reach out and alert the public about the uprising violence happening against mostly women and children. So many families are trapped in their own homes, with abusive family members or partner. In an effort to stop domestic violence globally, many marches, social media posts, increase in rules and regulations and increase in domestic violence hotlines have been instigated to stop the progression of this shadow pandemic during these agonizing times. The pandemic, which brought complete decimation to the world, and hospitalizing millions of people globally, have left many persons dumbstruck and baffling to cope mentally and emotionally. Whether you are a COVID-19 survivor, have lost someone to the virus, currently quarantined, or none of the above, research shows that the most common mental and emotional disorders caused by the COVID-19 virus are anxiety, fear, loneliness and suicidal thoughts. Anxiety. In some cases, persons who have never faced anxiety before, are now experiencing symptoms of the emotion. Symptoms that are nervousness and worry at the mention of the virus. On the other hand, persons who have battled anxiety before are now at higher risk of having an anxiety attack, which can be accompanied by a rapid heart rate, trouble breathing, heart palpitations and chest pain, while term damages can be high blood pressure and heart disease. Fear. It goes without saying that most persons fear death, if not all, and with this unbelievable death toll presented by the COVID-19 virus, impending death has been brought to many persons' minds and even as far as thoughts of an apocalypse. Fear levels have soared to new heights. Loneliness. Due to the worldwide law of social distancing, many have become deeply depressed and some even heartbroken, because they can no longer see their friends, families and partners whom they don't live with, as often as they desire. Many persons worldwide unknowingly, are very dependent on social and intimate interaction, to the point where, if there is a great decrease of physical and social interaction, it will take a great toll on their mental and emotional stability. Suicidal thoughts. Although there are no cases of an increase in suicide rates, due to the coronavirus, widely reported studies predicts an increase of 1% to 145% in suicides if the pandemic continues to worsen around the world. In an attempt to ease the emotional breakdown of citizens globally, many different persons, including media personalities and celebrities, have increased their media outputs on sites such as TikTok, YouTube and Instagram. The pandemic has caused many persons to lose their jobs, mainly domestic workers, and also made it even harder for those seeking employment. Many businesses and employers have been forced to relieve some of their employees from their post, in an effort to decrease the number of persons being in the business place at once. This was done to try and stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus, by lessening human interaction and enforcing social distancing. Various employers have even been forced to close their business ventures, due to number of corona cases spiraling in their establishments. This had become a nightmare for employers and employees alike, and might have thrown many of them into poverty, as that career might have been their only source of income. The worst-case scenario, of a person losing his or her only source of income, could be starvation and even suicide. Many persons who have lost their jobs due to the pandemic have turned to online trading, starting an online business, starting a YouTube channel, seeking employment online and doing promo videos online for different corporations. These are just a few ways in which persons are coping with the tragedy of being unemployed during these dreadful times. The World Travel and Tourism Council estimates that up to 50 million jobs could be lost due to the global pandemic. A worldwide food shortage was quite the possibility in the early stages of the pandemic. Many persons, despite the fact that there was no record of nationwide food shortage anywhere, were facing starvation because of the COVID-19 virus. This was due to the fact that citizens were stocking up on food more than ever before, so some customers were satisfied upon leaving their place of grocery shopping, while many other customers were not as lucky, as they were unable to stock up as they would like, because there was either little choices to choose from, or no food left on the shelf. Countermeasures were taken by the different governments to hinder a repeat of this catastrophe. These countermeasures included drastically increasing the production levels for the most consumed staples, rice, wheat and maize, and the assisting of small farmers to boost the fallen economy. The COVID-19 virus has caused the global economy to significantly slow down, due to the temporary seizure of trade amongst countries, in an effort to stop the spread of the pandemic. This seizure of importation and exportation of stock has placed a worldwide shortage of store supplies, such as hand sanitizers, tissues, medicines, garlic and console gaming CDs. Some of these items are now in high demand. The raw materials needed to create some of these stocks are imported from China, but due to the virus such actions have been halted, which in turn has left many countries stranded for basic necessities. The most devastating impact that the coronavirus has had on the educational system is the fact that so many schools and higher educational institutions around the world was ordered to be closed by their respective governments in an effort to stop the spread of the pandemic. It is believed that almost 2 billion students have been affected by this closure. This statistic represents 99% of the world's student population. The closing of schools has led to the beginning of online classes. Online classes are held via Zoom, Google Meet and other software platforms. In our research, these online classes has affected education in 3 major ways. Number 1, visual learning. It is a known fact that 65% of the student population are visual learners, and they are the most affected. With the loss of the classroom, visual learning has been greatly decreased, due to the change in environment. The reduction of visual aids used in the classroom, and the lack of a physical teacher, has made students way less attentive. Number 2, loss of students. Since the commencing of online classes, reports from teachers and schools globally claims that many of their students has never attended class or partially attended classes, due to either the lack of resources or the lack of interest. Number 3, turning online classes into memes. Some students continue to squander their learning time by pranking teachers and other classmates, while recording themselves doing such pranks, then uploading the videos onto social media sites, such as TikTok and YouTube. This has become a trend in many online classes. The most devastating impact that the coronavirus has brought on the world is the unbelievable death count. No one could have ever imagined that the respiratory illness would have claimed so many lives in little over a year. It is truly alarming that such a phenomenon has taken place. However, not all countries have experienced the COVID-19 virus. There are 15 countries and territories that have not recorded a single case of the pandemic. They are Tuvalu, Turkmenistan, Tonga, Tokelau, St. Helena, Samoa, Pitcairn Islands, Palau, North Korea, Niue, Nauru, Kiribati, Federal States of Micronesia, Cook Islands, and American Samoa. Despite these nations being spared from a nightmare, 3 countries have far surpassed others in the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths. There are the United States of America, followed by Brazil, and then India. The number of corona cases worldwide grows by the thousands each day, so we at our Top 10 Studio urges everyone to play your part by maintaining a 6 feet distance when out in public, keeping your hands clean, wearing your masks, and also keeping them clean, and stay home if you are over the age of 60 years, and also be extremely careful if you have a chronic illness, because these are the persons who are more affected by the pandemic. Please stay safe during these difficult times, and thank you all for watching. We hope this video was very informative, and if it was, please leave a like and subscribe. Then leave a comment down below to tell us your top 10 pick.